What if I told you that most of the internet doesn't fly through space? It runs through cables lying quietly on the ocean floor. Seriously, texts, emails, YouTube videos, even bank transfers between countries. A huge portion of it travels through undersea fiber optic cables. Welcome to the smart side. If you enjoy learning how things actually work, you're in the right place. In this video, I'll show you how these cables are laid, how the route is planned, how the cable is lowered without snapping, how it's protected near shore, and how it ends up connecting entire continents with strands of glass. First, a quick misconception. A lot of people imagine the internet crossing oceans using satellites. Satellites do exist, but the heavy lifting is done by cables. And these aren't thick, electric cables like a power cord. Fiber optic cables carry data as light. Inside are tiny glass fibers, about as thin as a hair. A laser sends light pulses through them, and those pulses carry your data. So the obvious question is, how do you take something that delicate and lay it across an entire ocean? Step one is planning the route, because you can't just drop a cable and hope it survives. Before anything is placed, survey teams map the seabed using sonar. They're looking for hazards, sharp rocky areas, underwater cliffs, deep trenches, places with landslides, and strong currents. They also avoid busy human areas when possible, because the most common cause of cable damage isn't sea monsters. It's anchors and fishing gear. Once the route is chosen, the cable gets loaded onto a specialized cable-laying ship. And this part is wild. The ship stores the cable in huge tanks, coiled up like a giant spool, sometimes thousands of kilometers of cable on one ship. Now the ship starts moving along the planned route, and the cable is fed out the back. But it's not just let it fall. The cable has to be released at exactly the right tension. Too much tension, and it can snap. Too little, and it can loop, snag, or land in a messy pile. So the ship uses a controlled payout system, basically a giant, super precise braking setup. It constantly measures tension while the ship adjusts speed, direction, and position, because the ocean is always moving. Waves, currents, wind. Even small changes can pull on the cable as it sinks. That's why many cable ships use dynamic positioning, computer-controlled thrusters that keep the ship locked onto the route even in rough water. Now here's where depth matters. In deep water, the cable is usually laid directly on the seafloor because deep water is relatively safe. No anchors, less fishing, fewer accidental hits. But near the coast, it's a different story. In shallow water, cables are often buried. To do that, the ship can pull an underwater plow. It cuts a narrow trench in the seabed, drops the cable into it, and then the sand settles back over the top, like burying a cable in your yard, just underwater. In some places, instead of a plow, they use water jets. High-pressure water loosens the sediment so the cable sinks in and gets covered naturally. Okay. But how does the signal travel across thousands of kilometers without fading? Because light weakens over distance. So along the cable there are repeaters, sealed devices that boost the signal as it travels. These repeaters are built like tanks. They have to survive deep pressure and work reliably for years. Because fixing a cable in the middle of the ocean is slow, expensive, and complicated. Now, the landing is one of the trickiest parts of the whole project. Near the shore, crews often use smaller boats to guide the cable in. Sometimes, they even drill a tunnel under the beach so the cable can come ashore protected and out of sight. Then, it connects to a cable landing station, basically the building where the undersea cable plugs into the land-based internet network. So if you zoom out, the whole system looks like this. A hair-thin strand of glass carrying light, wrapped in protective layers, laid with careful tension control, buried near shore, boosted by repeaters, and connected back into the internet on land. And the crazy part is, Once it's all in place, you never see it again. But it's doing the hard work for the global internet every second of every day. So next time you FaceTime someone on the other side of the world, remember, there's a good chance your voice traveled as pulses of light through a cable on the ocean floor. If you enjoyed this and learned something new, I'd really appreciate it if you hit like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me and to the Smart Side, and it helps the channel reach more curious people like you.